Broadcasting live from the Business RadioX studios in Atlanta, Georgia, it's time for Atlanta Business Radio, spotlighting the city's best businesses and the people who lead them.
Good morning and welcome to Atlanta Business Radio. I'm your host, Michael Lauer. We've got a very special show for you guys today. We have the ProWin Special Edition episode. We have some great guests here to talk about ProWin and their day jobs. So we have later on in the show, we'll visit with Carol Dunlop, Laura Baring, and Karen Davis. But before that, we're going to visit with Becky Davis, President and CEO with MVP Work. How you doing, Becky?
I am doing wonderful.
Great. Well, wonderful is always good. We want to make sure everyone's doing wonderful. So first off, give a little bit of mission and purpose for MVP Works.
MVP Work, the mission and the focus is to help small businesses stay up after they start up. That's the biggest focus. There are so many things out there to help with startups. You look anywhere, there's something that can help you start a business. But once you start it and you get stuck, there's not a lot to help you keep it moving forward. So that's kind of where I come in, MVP Work, and fill that gap to help companies that are stuck and stalled get started again. It's kind of what we do. So we do a lot of leadership development for entrepreneurs and small businesses. We help them with assessing their people, their leadership team, the employees that are a part of their team. Because 9 times out of 10, once you get stuck, it's a people problem. It's a people issue. Products and services, that rarely is the case. It's the people piece that might be affecting product and services. So we really focus on the people side of the business and helping business owners to actually lead in their business. That's really what MVP Work is about.
So are you getting clients kind of when they're already broken, or are you kind of getting them right when they start and you're able to kind of plan and prevent this from happening? What's the mix?
It's normally once they're broken is normally,
when
that's when the calls come out.
Of course.
Is when they're broken. If we can get them in the stages of startup, not just a startup, once they start up, to know this is a resource once you have started. These are some things.
Themselves.
Exactly.
You don't want to be the tattoo artist fixing the bad tattoo work, right?
Like,
you want to get the first
why'd you
guy.
let them do that? Yeah, now I got to go behind you. Yes, I want to get them right where you're getting ready to start up. Let me help you put some things in place that will help you continue to go, and then they can we can go back and visit, and then still help them to take it to another level. But to get them earlier, that would be great. But I normally get them when they're broken.
Great. So what's a typical client look like for you guys?
A typical client for me is an entrepreneur that has really been in business at least 3+ years. They have a set of employees. This is my target market. They already have employees that work for them, and that's usually where I come in, because a lot of entrepreneurs have their passion or their expertise, which starts the business, but they don't really know how to lead people. And that's the where I come in, and to help them with that. So that's really a good target market for me, someone who's at least been in business for 3 years, have employees reporting to them, and they kind of get stuck.
Sure. Is the problem the majority of the problem that they kind of put these processes in place because they work now and it's just working great, but then it's not necessarily scalable? Is that kind of what happens?
It's not necessarily scalable. And another thing that I find is that sometimes they don't put processes in place. You know, it's doing it different. Every time you're doing something different.
Just to get it done,
Yeah,
right.
Put the process in place so that it saves you time, because you don't have to keep telling everybody, this is now the process. But that's another thing that's opportunity, is helping them put processes in place to be able to save time and money.
Yeah, just turn the wheel and let money come out, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
So what are some common misconceptions startup entrepreneurs have that you kind of have to get past usually right when you start up?
Well, there's a few. I normally share with people. They always say, well, you know, people say you can start a business and you don't have to have money. And I always say you can start a business without money, but you can't keep a business without money.
Right.
So you're going to have to do some investing in your business. And there's been so many people out there that lead you to believe no money, you can start it and you can. Okay, it won't last you long. It's really people who pre-plan and invest to get ready to really do something worthwhile or big. You have to make an investment, and a financial investment yourself. most people think, well, I can get other people to make that investment. If you're not going to invest, why would someone else want to invest in your company? I think that's a misnomer, is that you can do it without any money.
Sure. So there are some other companies that kind of do what you do. How do you differentiate yourself in the marketplace? I mean, that's a tough challenge.
It is. And one of the things that we do that I believe sets us apart is we really I focus on helping entrepreneurs and leadership. My company is called MVP Work. MVP stands for Meaning, Values, and Purpose Work. And so many companies get away from that. And so to help people understand, why did you originally start this business? You've pulled yourself so far away from that. What values are you applying on a daily basis as opposed to denying those values in the workplace? And what is the purpose of this business? How is it serving the world? How is it serving employees? How is it making a difference? And if they can't answer those, then that's why they are stuck. That's why. So it's really getting people back to what really is the core, because that's why they started, but it's so quick to lose sight of it. I worked in corporate America for 20 years, and you talk about lose sight of the big picture. That happens too often, but if you can stay grounded in meaningful work while you're doing the work, applying your values to what you do, and purpose is about making a difference in the world. And if you can keep at that core, you'll sustain longer. Companies that have been around for years, that's why they stay around.
Well, that makes total sense to me. I thought you were going to say it's the Becky Bite.
You know about the Becky Bite?
Yeah, so tell the listeners about the Becky Bite.
I love Becky Bite. It's something I came up with. I was doing a radio show, and I came up with it because I listened to the morning show, and I heard Ricky Smiley doing Ricky's Quickies. And I was like, oh, that's really good. I need to come up with something. And I was like, I can do Becky Bites. And Becky Bites is really just a one phrase sentence that I really just kind of expound upon by sharing something for you. A bite is not enough for you to get full on. It's just enough for you to chew on. And so I'll share something and say,
like
chew on this for today. And it's something that just make you go, I never thought about it like that. And so it's probably a minute or 2 minute videos that I share once a week. I share out in all of my social networks of something for you to just chew on this for the week. So Becky Bite.
All right. Well, we're not done with you. We're going to move on to the other guests, but we're going to come back and we're all going to talk about ProWin together.
Awesome.
But I want to move on to VP of Marketing Publications for Creative Services International, Miss Carol Dunlap. How you doing, Carol?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing very well today. Super excited about having you all on the show.
Thank you.
But I want to go ahead and get a little bit more information about Creative Services International.
Okay, well, great. Well, Creative Services, we help our clients get more clients with eye-catching web design, social media marketing, and newsletter campaigns and mobile apps. So we kind of take the business, entrepreneur, small company, mom and pop shop, we take them from where they are then and just kind of look at what they have. Some of them don't have a website. Most of them don't know what social media is. They're like, do I have to do this? What is this stuff all about? I don't want to tell people what I had for breakfast. And really, nobody wants to know what you have for breakfast anyway.
Wait, you shouldn't Instagram that on a daily basis?
No, well, you can on your personal account, but on your we're talking about doing business. What we're actually doing is helping you to turn your followers into paying clients, and that's really what
it's all about the conversion to dollars, right?
Exactly. That's exactly what it's about.
So, I'm sure you find sometimes that, businesses don't have a website, but maybe even worse, they have a bad one,
oh,
right?
Gosh. Yes. Bad
what are
ones
some
worse.
common misconceptions with that, right?
Well, the thing is, when websites first came out in the www, way back in 1994, nobody knew what it was really about. And then they said, okay, well, you just got to get on the web. You just have to have a web presence somewhere. And they're like, okay. So then Front Page came out and all the Vistaprint and all these other things, which are very good companies. But I was talking with a client the other day, and he said, well, I have a Vistaprint website. And I was like, we need to get you off of there pretty soon because it's very limited. It's a templated site. You don't have any creativity. So we need for people, when they come to your site, your target audience comes to your site, they need to say, oh, my God, I need to work with that person right now. So Vistaprint doesn't really allow you to do that. It allows you to have a presence on the web. And having a presence on the web is much different than having a website that converts people into paying clients.
Now, it's not just I need a website and that's it. Like you said, you know, a lot of people are scared of social media, especially if they don't understand it. What are some ways they can kind of ease themselves into tweeting, for example?
Ease themselves into tweeting. Well, the very first thing is just to set up their account. Because most people who are talking about Twitter and stuff, they haven't even set up their account. There are more people out there that set up Twitter accounts and just leave them abandoned and never go back and even do their first tweet. So start tweeting. And then people ask me all the time, what should I tweet about? Well, you have to look at it like you are talking to your client right there in front of you. What would you want your client to know? What are you going to tell them? You're certainly not going to tell them, I ate eggs for breakfast, unless you're a personal trainer and you want them to eat eggs for breakfast. So what is the most important thing you want them to know about your business? And you have to look at it like you're not trying to just sell them. Because if you were at a networking event, you wouldn't go up to somebody you just met and say, hey, how you doing? Here's my card. Buy my product. You would have to say something like, hey, this is my name. This is who I am. What are you interested in? What would you like to hear?
Ask questions. Don't just give them a 30-second pitch, right?
Exactly.
And that's what social media is, right? It's a first impression on a large scale.
Exactly. It's all about building relationships, actually. It's not really about just posting, putting your information out there, and hopefully somebody will look at it and say, oh, I want to work with you. They have to know, like, and trust you before they'll buy from you. How do they get that if you don't tell them stuff about you, what your business does, how long you've been in business, what your motivations are for being in business, how you almost lost your business and now you're doing great because of great, wonderful followers like you? You have to make them feel special.
So let me get this straight. I can't just tweet to tweet. I have to have a strategy for that too?
Yes, you do. You have to have a strategy. And really, I had to learn about this in my own business because you can tweet just to tweet, or you can Facebook just to post, or you can do all that. But if you're not out there, like, what are you in business for? You are in business to make money and to sustain your health right now, to keep living.
Sure.
So without making any money, you can't do that, right? So
Right.
you have to have a strategy like, what do you want the people to do? When you send out this tweet, what do you want the people to do when they get this tweet? Do you want them to go to your site and do something? Do you want them to go buy something? Do you want them to sign up for your email newsletter list? What do you want? And in order to get them to do that, that knowing, liking, trusting factor, they have to trust what you say, and that when they do go to your site, because they followed your link and they're like, something resonated with me when I saw that post about how you did such and such, and they went to your site, you're like, wow, that's great. This person is who I've been looking for. Where have you been all my life? That's what you want. That's the reaction you want.
So talk to me a little bit about a social media hub and how that can contribute to a good strategy.
Okay, social media hub. Now, even though we're talking about Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn and Pinterest and all that, and you got all these followers, you got all these people who like you don't own any of that stuff. None of that belongs to you. It belongs to whoever created those specific sites. So the thing about social media is to get them from social media to you and your list, your newsletter list, your website. That's your hub. Everything should happen on your hub. Even if you're just tweeting about, hey, I've got a brand new report I want to give you for free. It's going to give you all this wonderful advice. Cool, put a link on there, send it back to your site. Everything goes back to your site. That is your hub. That is where all your activity culminates. And you have to think about it like no one can ever take your website away from you, but they can take Twitter, Facebook, Pinterest, and all the other things. They can shut down. So if your business is just totally dependent on any one of these things, you're in hot water. So that's about putting all your eggs in one basket, because if it stops tomorrow, what's going to happen to your business? So that's what I mean by social media hub. You've got to get them back to your site and get them interested in what you're doing and what you're saying. Plus, you can't be limited when you're on your website.
Right. All right. Well, thank you, Carol. And we're going to come back to you, too, but I want to make sure we get some. I have a lot of questions about ProWin, and I want to make sure we have time to get them in. So next up, we have with us Laura Beering with True Voices. Did I say that? I should have asked you how to say that before.
You did. That's right.
Oh, right. Nailed it. Well, maybe not quite nailed it, but close. So tell us a little bit about True Voices.
True Voices is a coaching, consulting, and creative agency. And I'm a certified professional coach, authentic life and leadership. And so I work with both individuals and teams, and sometimes business partnerships, on finding their authentic selves or missions, and then helping them hold them accountable to achieving those.
So I'm going to ask this question that I've asked a couple others. What's a typical client look like for you guys?
Well, I could give you some demographics. Typically women, but not all. I love my male clients. And typically middle-aged, but not all. I have a 22-year-old client and a 74-year-old client, so clearly it's not right within 45 to 60. But what I like to say even more than demographics is that I coach a certain psychographic. And by that, I mean who the people are, not necessarily what they do. I have architects and lawyers and moms and all of that, but it's more about who they are and what they're experiencing. So generally, the people have some level of success, but they're still missing. There's a missing ingredient in their lives that they don't quite know how to fill. Some of them know what it is, but don't know how to fill it. Others aren't really even sure what it is. They just kind of wake up or eventually realize that life has to be more than this.
Right.
Is this all it is? And so generally the people who come to me are missing some element of self-worth, self-esteem. They may not label it as that. They may not see it as that. But there's that leads them to a lack of courage, a lack of confidence, ability to take the risks, to have the lives that they want to have.
So I'm curious, how did you get the name of the company?
I used to be an opera singer.
Oh, you gonna sing for us?
Pardon me? Am I going to sing for you? No, for a small fee. Yeah.
Nah, that was good.
Yeah, thank you. So I went through a period in my life where I basically lost. Well, at first I lost my ability to perform.
Okay.
I hit one of those blocks that you hear about, and I went through this process of actually finding my own true voice. And now that's what I do for people, is help them find theirs. And in fact, there's a story I tell. It actually started way before I was a singer. When I was in 3rd grade, I was in the talent show for the 12th grade school. Way back when we had 12th grade schools.
Right.
I won't tell you exactly how old I am, but that gives you a little bit of an idea. And so I represented the 3rd grade class in this talent show, and my dad happened to be a professor of oral interpretation of poetry and prose. And so he gave me all these ideas about how to, my talent was reading a poem, was reciting a poem.
Gotcha.
So my dad told me all these ways to do it, and then my teacher was an elocutionist, which is very different. It's very much like a lot of hand gestures and all of this when you're doing reading a poem or reciting a poem. Anyway, the bottom line is I didn't know what to do. So the night before, I went in my room and I figured out my way. I listened to what they had told me, and then I figured out my way. And I like to think that's what I help people do now. There are a lot of voices. We get like 40, 50,000.
Yeah, it's a lot of noise.
Yeah, 40 to 50,000 marketing messages a day. And we have to figure out what's right for us, not to mention all the voices we have in our heads. So I like to help people narrow that down and find their own, and then have the courage to live by that, live in integrity with their values, their missions, et cetera, like has been said already.
Now, I know you said that your clients have a typical psychographic, but they can't have the same problem or the same solution for each one. You got to kind of pivot and figure out the best way to help them, right?
Absolutely. And part of that comes with my skills. I'm not trained as an expert architect or an expert rocket scientist, but what I do have is the skills to coach those people and to help them find out what their answers are around their issues or those topics that they feel are important. And then in addition to my skills and training, I also have, it is my tools and training. I have a big basket or bag or something of different ones to bring out for different clients. One of them that I'm excited about right now is that I've been studying under Dr. Brene Brown, about vulnerability and shame and courage and all of the things that hold us back from being the people we want to be. And I'm about to be certified to lead The Daring Way, which is her work culminated in one program. So I'm really excited about that.
That's awesome. And you mentioned that a lot of your clients have a self-esteem variable issue. Mm-hmm. So that they don't like to tout themselves that much. Is that something you help with? And I find, and correct me if I'm wrong here, ladies, but the ladies have more of a tough time typically than men when
Yeah.
it comes to thinking highly of themselves. We have that ego thing going for us. So how do you navigate that?
Well, I think you're right. It is a generalization. It's not always true, but I think you're right. Most of the time, women have an issue with touting themselves that men don't have. But one of the things I help my clients do is begin to see that they do have value and that without their contribution, the world will not function as it's intended to function. We all have a place in the world, a puzzle piece to offer. The other thing I recommend is that people take daily intentional risks. And I'm not talking about bungee jumping or skydiving. I'm talking about the things that they're afraid to do every day. So they might look at their calendar and see they have a meeting with such and such, and they really want certain things to happen, but they're afraid to say those things. So they say, okay, I'm at least going to do this one thing. And the beauty of the daily intentional risk is that regardless of the outcome of the risk, when they say, today I'm going to do this, and then they do it, they automatically build self-esteem. They automatically get a reward. And then there's the result, the resolution, et cetera, that comes from taking the risk. But they already feel better about themselves. And it builds momentum, and it builds their courage muscle.
Now, there's a lot of different names in the marketplace. There's coaching, consulting, counseling. There's, workshops, training, facilitation. So what the heck?
Good question. I love this question. Actually, I'm a little bit of a snob. Actually, about.
You can be a snob, but go on, be a snob.
Okay, so the difference between coaching and consulting, and actually counseling too, is that consulting and counseling are both. I consider both of those to be in the. I'm afraid to be a snob, but I'm going to be brave, right? I'm going to take this risk.
It's okay.
Okay. So, people who consult do a lot of good in the world. I'm certainly not saying they don't, but they have a level of expertise or a level of experience and sometimes a level of education that allows them to go into a certain situation and say, this is what I see happening that could be fixed, and here's my report, or here's what I think you should do, and then they leave. They might stick around a little while, but then they go and leave the implementation to the client. Counseling is similar to consulting in that counselors, therapists, etc., have a level of education and skill, expertise, experience in what they do, but they generally tell the clients what to do. They also have a bent toward fixing, healing, curing, and they have a bent toward looking to the past to change the present. Coaching, my skill, as I said before, is not in rocket science or architecture, for instance. Coaching, my skill is in asking the questions and listening and brainstorming and holding the client accountable. What I don't have to have is the experience in their arena. What I do have to have is the skill in doing the coaching. And the way it differs from consulting is I am there during the process. I help them get clear and then help them leap the hurdles and then help them celebrate as well. Yeah, and coaching also does not have a filter toward the past. Coaching is about where are you right now and where do you want to go, and as opposed to where have you been and how do you want to be now. Does that muddy the
I don't
waters?
think that that clears it up a lot. But I don't think that was snobbish. I think that was very
not
articulated.
snobbish.
No, very good.
Thank
Nice
you.
job. Top marks all the way around.
Yay!
All right, I want to move to our last guest here so I can start talking about ProWin. We have with us Ms. Karen Davis, Strategic Initiatives Director for HFFI and WISE. How you doing?
Hi. I actually work for Access to Capital for
entrepreneurs.
People know us as ACE for short. As the Strategic Initiatives Director, my area of focus is around our women's initiative that we just launched in October, the Women Investing in Successful Entrepreneurs, WISE for short. And so basically, ACE is a community development financial institution, CDFI. We're a nonprofit. We've been around for about 14 years, started by a woman who had an interest in providing access to capital for minorities, low income businesses that are in the rural communities. And so that's been the launching of the organization. And over the years, we've really wanted to provide services with a focus around women entrepreneurs. And so last year, we were invited to participate in the Clinton Global Initiative, which is a very prestigious honor. And as part of our commitment, we decided to do WISE, which is to create a $2.5 million loan fund specifically for women entrepreneurs who are wanting to expand or start a business, as well as provide business advisory services in the space of coaching, mentoring, counseling, around how to grow their businesses through accessing capital, which is a huge issue among women. Some of the things that other guests have talked about around confidence, around starting but not knowing how to go to the next level. These are all of the challenges that we see with our women entrepreneurs that we're trying to really hone in and focus our services through WISE to really touch on those issues that keep women from growing to the next level, even though we dominate as far as the number of businesses starting. When it comes to amount of revenue, number of jobs created, we fall way behind.
So what are some common hurdles that you're seeing that you help your clients kind of get over?
So one, again, this fear around accessing capital to grow their businesses. You have women who start businesses and do very well, but they take it upon themselves to come up with all of the financing from in-house instead of going out, looking at the equity that they currently have in their business that could help them increase the business through financing, and just outright looking at some of these new avenues that are out there, angel investing and crowdfunding, and working with organizations like ACE, that's not a bank, but a non-traditional lending opportunity to grow your business. And so we see the fear, we see the lack of knowledge and information around accessing capital. And one of the biggest things, we see women not taking advantage of opportunities because of fear in accessing capital. They get a big contract opportunity, but they decide, well, I don't have everything that I need in place right now in order to take on this big contract, so I'm going to let it pass. A man would never do that. They jump head
And
first.
why do you, what's the fear based on? Is it that they'll fail? Is that the fear?
Well, again, we talked about confidence being an issue, how we see ourselves as women in that still traditional role, and not as, a business owner who's trying to grow their business to the next level. So a lot of it has to be fear around risk taking. It's a risk to say, okay, I'll take that contract and I'll figure it out later. Women tend to be more cautious in that space. And so we want to, through WISE, coach women on how to be brave, how to access the capital so that they can say yes and have that information.
So what are some ways that you guys are kind of doing this? Are you having workshops? Are there, events? What's kind of going on?
Yes, and so we've had several opportunities, and we have some things that are coming up. We launched a WISE initiative back in October 2013. To date, we've already provided loans in the range of $2.2 million.
Wow, that's awesome.
For 24 businesses, creating or keeping 131 jobs so far. So our target.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Our target over the 2 years, we're almost there already inside of the first 9 months. And so we're really excited about that. We had our launch event. We had a networking event to promote WISE and connect women to opportunities to be in a space with Susan Nethero, who's known as the Bra Whisperer, who started the Intimacy Corporation that is a national brand. And she spoke very intuitively to the women there around taking those risks and how she started out and got to the next level. So that was a huge opportunity. Coming up, we have a speed coaching event. That would be a great opportunity for women to meet one-on-one with Susan and other really established businesses who may have expertise in the area of marketing, accessing capital, building your business through social media, a lot of these different categories. So we have that coming up in November, on November 5th, as well as a risk assessment program that we're doing with Travelers Insurance to mitigate risk to your businesses through risk assessment plans and accessing finances to help you implement those plans. That's coming up on August 20th at the Loudermilk Center.
Now, one of the cool benefits I have about sitting here in this chair, getting a bunch of people in multiple times a day, is I see a lot of men and women who are very successful, very confident, and I feel like women are kind of starting to get over this this self-esteem issue. They're getting a little better. Is this a trend that you're kind of seeing also?
I wish that I could say that we've arrived, but we have not. There have been studies after studies and articles after articles. I just read one this morning, still speaking in that same space that women just have not achieved the level of confidence that's needed in order for us to crack and break the glass ceiling. It really is about us, having this value about ourselves in order to step into these spaces that we know we belong and we deserve to be there. It takes a lot of confidence to do that.
So what do you guys need? What could help you guys out the most?
So one of the things, we certainly would like to get the word out, which is why we're partnering with organizations like ProWin and NABO and some other organizations that provide services targeting women entrepreneurs. So getting the word out, because we are an entity that provides the financing that women need to grow their businesses. And we don't just invest in the business from here's the money to grow your business to make sure you pay us back standpoint. We invest in the business from the standpoint that we want to provide all of the wraparound services that you may need to be successful. It's good that you can pay us back, but that's a big thing. But we are truly investing in the business, and we don't just see the numbers; we see the actual business.
Is a pretty tough vetting process when you get someone to get a loan, or how does that normally work?
So we have we have many types of loan programs, but we have micro lending space, which is up to $50,000. You need to at least have a credit score of 550 or more, have a one-to-one collateral match. And, what makes us different from sometimes a banking institution is how we allow you to collateralize your loan. And so that's one big thing that makes us different. In the commercial space, we go up to $250,000, higher than that if we partner with a bank. And so your credit score may need to be a little bit higher. But again, we look at the entirety of the business and its profitability.
Well, I want to thank you for the perfect segue to ProWin. So I'm going to let you do the honors of giving the mission statement for ProWin.
Oh, let somebody else do that.
Somebody else do that? Well, who's prepared to kind of take that on? Anyone kind of want to give us a little background on ProWin and what they're doing?
I will.
Okay.
This is Laura. I believe I'm the I won't say oldest, longest time member of ProWin here. I've been with ProWin since the second year. And Kelly Jean Beard, who's an attorney here in town, she started it. And I've had the honor and pleasure of running a few board retreats. So I knew a little bit about them. And I believe, if I'm not wrong, their current tagline/mission is building business by building relationships.
Right. And how are you seeing that they're accomplishing that, especially this year and in upcoming ways?
Well, they have some great programming. And one of the things that they do differently that I love at the actual events is they have a specific format they use to help the women at the tables get to know each other. And what's that called, y'all? There's a...
There's a round table discussion.
Round table discussion. I think there might be a trademarked something else too, but basically they ask a question to the people at the table before the speaker gets up that gets the women talking in the area of the topic, but that allows them to offer a little more personal information rather than just giving their 30-second elevator speech, so that the relationships can begin to be built around the table. And not table topics. Shoot, it'll come to me. It'll
As soon
come
as
to
it
me.
does, you just spit it out in the mic.
Yeah,
okay?
well, it's going to be after the mics are turned off, I can guarantee. But anyway, that's one thing I love about ProWin. And I have friends that I met in ProWin a long time ago that are still my friends. Sometimes I go to a meeting just to see my friends, regardless of the topic.
Well, you're building meaningful and substantive relationships with these things, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So, what's your current function or current role within ProWin? What are you doing? Are you
Currently,
just attending? Or?
I'm just attending. Yeah, as I said, I've done some board
Sure.
retreats, and I've been a speaker a couple of times. But right now, I'm just being friends with people there and supporting the members and the speakers, and just offering whatever they can use me for, not in an official capacity.
Sure.
Yeah.
Carol, I believe you were about to say something. No. Well, what are you doing for ProWin then? Are you kind of just attending and supporting that way?
Well, yes and no. Actually, I help, or Anita and I run the social media part of it.
Oh, great.
So
that's
Anita,
cool.
Anita Paul, sorry, I couldn't remember her
Perfect
name.
fit for you, huh?
Yeah, it is. And that's kind of how I was introduced to ProWin, because Linda Collette, who I know you've had on several times, and is the past president for this year, she came to me and she said, Carol, we need to do some marketing for ProWin. We're not getting it. So we talked about it, what they needed, and my expertise is in social media. It's not really in the traditional marketing. And I told them that, and we came to an agreement about it. So I came in, I'm actually a sponsor, and I love it. And the thing is, when I was talking about, people don't know about Twitter and Facebook, ProWin was one of those people. I mean, they were on LinkedIn. They were working some LinkedIn, but the other things they were not quite
Sure.
doing as well. So now we're on Pinterest, we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on Google+. We have the newsletter going out every month, which I do the newsletter, and Anita Paul, who is awesome. She's a VP of marketing. We work so well together. We do our social media dance together. We're always talking on the phone, or I'll call her up like, Anita, why don't we do this right here? And she was like, oh, that's awesome. So I think just doing that, just connecting all the dots, all the social media dots, has really helped us so much, because I came into ProWin in August or September of last year, and by the time we got everything running, it was probably like October, November. But January, we were sold out in that meeting. It was like standing
Wow.
room only, just about. It was awesome, and the energy was great. And pretty much we've kept that up the rest of the year. We get like at least every meeting 5 or 6 people that join right then. They weren't even thinking about joining. They go, I'm joining now.
Yeah, I was one of those people.
and it's a lot of it is because of the relationship building,
Yeah.
but a lot of it is because of I saw something posted on Twitter, I saw something posted on Facebook, LinkedIn, or whatever, and then I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to check this out, and then they come to the meeting and they're like, oh, I got to be a part of this. So I love it.
Right. And Becky, what's your relationship with ProWin?
I at the end of last year, at the end of every year, the fourth quarter, I really kind of reassess what the following year is going to look like. And I was going through a list of organizations that I was a part of and deciding, okay, that was a waste of time, not going there anymore. And so I'm going through saying, how do I use my time more valuable? And so I was Googling different women organizations and ran across ProWin. When I read the information, I was like, oh, man, I want to be a part of this. And that was just from the web presence. I hadn't even attended a meeting. So after reading that, I looked at the membership fee, and I was like, okay, I'll do it. I'll check it out the first year. And I went to that first meeting in January, and I was like, I am in the right place. I made the right decision. And I like that it was every other month, because most most organizations once a month, and then you feel guilty because you can't go to everything. And I was like, okay, that'll work better with my schedule. And then on the off months, if I don't have anything, then I can attend the some of the other things that's going on. But it worked with my schedule. And then it was one of the things that really attracted to me is that it was a mix of entrepreneurs and corporate people. It wasn't just one or the other.
Right.
That
Well,
mix.
both need both parties, right? So that's good. Yeah.
Exactly. I love that part because you kind of get all sides there. And as an entrepreneur, but then also working 20 years in corporate America, so it was a good fit and it felt comfortable for me as well. And once I attended the first meeting, just the warm, welcoming environment is really what just kind of drew me in. And Anita Paul and I were friends prior when I got there, and I was like, hey, and then she's like, hey, and I was like, you're here? She's like, yeah, this is what I'm like. Oh, I'm in the right place then. I know I'm in the right place. So that's really what drew me to it and really kind of got me excited about it because it was the right fit for me to help Becky to grow and for Becky to give back and serve
Cool.
as well. It was a good mix.
And Karen?
So for us, I joined ProWin as an entrepreneur myself earlier this year. We just met with Anita and Trisha on Tuesday to really kind of hone in on this partnership for the WISE initiative. As these ladies have shared with you, the membership base are women entrepreneurs as well as corporate women. Good marriage. We need coaches. We need businesses like MVP to come in and work. So they saw that as a great opportunity to, one, create opportunities for the ProWin members to give back and to share with other women who may be in the startup phase or are trying to grow their businesses. And so we're looking to partner with them to kind of cross promote where we're marketing ProWin events and activities and offering discounts to ProWin members for our WISE events and so on. So it's a really good opportunity to work together with the Women's Association and fill gaps where they truly are needed. My first event was the financial workshop, and it's kind of like the psychology of finances, which I thought was very interesting. And again, the warm atmosphere that was kind of taking place in that space and the information itself made me want to really be a part of ProWin and connect our WISE entrepreneurs to the services and the opportunities that are presented through ProWin.
So where can folks go to learn more about ProWin?
ProWin.net.
Com. ProWin.com.
I think we've come up in the world.
Well, they have a new social media
They have this
partner.
new
so
gal
there's something
in
about
social
that,
media,
right?
yeah.
Yes, ProWin.com. Please
Great.
go
Or
there.
the Facebook, they're on. There's a LinkedIn group as well. So there, and I've seen this year. With this being my first year, I just thought this is what you guys did. Didn't know this was new, but I see the information coming out every week. I see the things that Anita's posting. I see all of the stuff that's coming on those social sites, and I just thought, oh man, they really promote well. So hats off to you because
Thank you.
coming in, seeing it, you think this is, oh my God, they're really good. So the fact that they are working together with people in the organization to become better, I think it's absolutely phenomenal.
Well, I would like to say, this is Carol. I would like to say one thing about ProWin is it is a machine. It really is. You really, until I got on this part of it where, I'm not part of the board, but I'm on the committee, the marketing committee, and then Nita tells me what the board does. Those ladies, from what they have done for, 7 or 8 years, however long it's been there, they have a well-oiled machine going on, and you just don't realize the parts that go into making it run. It runs so smoothly, and you think, oh, my God, but it's awesome. And the people that are behind it, Trisha Mulcair, who's the president this year, she is just amazing. So I think everyone there, my hat is off to all of them, because I've totally enjoyed myself.
Yeah.
And not to mention, I've gotten some business from being a member of ProWin.
Yeah,
so
I wanted to say that too. It's not just about my friends.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's a great part.
There's a definite ROI there, right?
Exactly. I can eat too while I'm here.
There you go.
That's
Yes.
awesome. That's awesome. So before we wrap, I want to go around each of you and get the coordinates for your business and how people can get in touch with you. So Becky, we'll start with you. How can people get in touch with you and find out more about MVP work?
You can actually go to my website, which is www.mvpwork.com. There's a free gift waiting for you if you go to the site. And then my social sites, and I'm on everything out there, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, Pinterest, Google+, you name it, I'm out there. And it's all under MVP work, which is meaning, values, and purpose work.
Great. Carol?
Okay, well, you can find me by going to my website, www.csicorporation.com. And that's CSI like the show, and then corporation spelled out. We actually started about the same time, I think. But and if you go there, there are two things that you can get. One is I would love for you to sign up for the social media marketing analysis. And if you just click on social media, see what it's all about, on that button on the side, you can get a free social media marketing analysis from me. I will go look at all your stuff, and I will give you the lowdown dirt on what's going on and what needs to be going on. Plus, if you sign up for my newsletter, there's an ebook that I published about, okay, so you got this website and people come there. Are they converting? If you got 1 million people coming to your site and you're converting like one person, something is wrong. So
That's not a great conversion.
Yeah. So there's a book, 7 tips to help you convert. So you can sign up for that and you get it absolutely free. CSIcorporation.com.
That's awesome. I know we'll be taking a look at that for us. That's awesome. Laura?
Well, I am at truevoices.com. And the other way you can get me is Laura at truevoices.com. And on my website, I also have a free gift, and it's an ebook called 5 Ways to Die Before You Die.
Ooh, interesting title.
And it talks about the ways we make ourselves live less fulfilled lives. That's one way of saying it. And it also gives hints as to how not to do that, to die before you die. Also, there's a website called theriskadayjournal.com where you can find out about the book that I wrote on taking a risk a day. And so there's the free gift, the ebook, but also I'd like to offer to all of you a consultation just about how to live your best life, to coin, I think, Oprah's phrase. Sorry about that, Oprah. And to get clear on what it is you really want and how you might be able to get that. So just shoot me an email and we'll set that up.
Great.
Let me say what my free gift is on the site as well. It's a MP3 CD download of 5 reasons why small businesses struggle. Is what you'll get. So if you're a small business, that audio will give you some insight into if these things are happening, that's why your business is struggling.
And that's for MVP work, right?
MVP work, yes.
Great.
Becky Davis.
To learn more about WISE and access to capital for entrepreneurs, we do not have a free gift at www.aceloans.org, but we do have up to $50,000 in our microloan space and up to $250,000 in our commercial space and up. But it's ACE Loans, ACE Loans, LOANS.com. You can follow us on Twitter at Ace Loans and also on Facebook and all the other social media outlets. If you'd like to talk to me directly, you can reach me at 404-395-2755. People tend to remember websites a lot better.
Easily,
that was my advice from Anita. So to make sure you give the website. So there's more about WISE and the other loan opportunities. ACE is not specifically for just women. We are a community lender to men, women, everyone, and so there are other opportunities on the site.
Great. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure having you guys on the show. I've been so excited to have you. Sorry we're running out of time, but appreciate you guys coming in.
Thank you. It's been fun.
All right, I'm Michael Lauer. We'll catch you next time here on Atlanta Business Radio.